Hey, what's up everybody? My name's Tommy Cheek. You're watching Cheeky Garage. If this is your first time here, welcome. If not, welcome back. And today, we are making some freaking progress on this S10 of mine. Alright, so one of the last things I needed to do before I put the motor and trans in here, as far as on the frame, it was brake lines. And I was going back and forth on whether to bend new brake lines, new fittings, new flares, 100% new. Most everything else on the truck's, pretty new or fresh. And I made the really difficult decision, at least for me, to just reuse the stock lines. There's nothing wrong with them. Never had any leaks, never had any issues with the brakes before. So to save myself a couple bucks, especially considering that I was planning on buying one of those fancy, like $200 brake flaring tools. With the pandemic and the time frame and everything else, I said, screw it. There's nothing wrong with them. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Cleaned them up with a brass wire wheel, some brake cleaner, and they'll do the job. Now, one thing, everything's ran like stock, except right here for the Hooker Blackheart stuff. Even the instructions say to take this, we're on the back side of the engine cross member on the front brake line, and the instructions for, I believe, the mounts said to take this bolt out and run it down as low as possible. So I did that. I kept the stock hole here. I took a clamp off of one of my old fuel lines, flattened it out in the vise, rebent it around to this much smaller line here, and so it's just a really long clamp. So that worked great. And then just drilled a second hole, tapped it, and put the clamp that used to be there here. And now this thing is nice and rock solid. Real down at close to the bottom of the cross member. And yeah, other than that, 100% stock location, stock clamps, good to go. So it's clutch time for that thing right there, so y'all stay tuned. Alright, pilot bearings in, flywheel is on, torque to spec. Now I've got to align the bell housing. Alright, so I got the bell housing alignment plate on, fought with the magnetic base and dial indicator, but got it in there. Had my wife come downstairs and turn the crank for me, and all the information I could find said most transmissions have a 5/1000ths tolerance, and I have verified that the tolerance is, obviously half of the readings on the dial indicator, because you're going off centerline radius. And left to right, we're perfect, and top to bottom, we're on the upper end of spec. I got 9 thou difference top to bottom. Cut that in half, is 4.5. Max is 5. So I'm gonna run it. No offset dials here. So it's clutch time, baby. Whoop, there it is. LS1 T56 Magnum sitting in the frame rails. My 93 S10. Hopefully for good. I've got the mounts, trans cross member, everything is torqued down. Try to tighten as I go so I don't have to bolt check too much. Fits like a glove. Headers and intake are just on there for looks right now, but you can see the clearance for the Hooker Blackheart headers. Again, these are the 1 3/4 inch primaries. They also make a 1 7/8. Over here you can see we'll have to do something with the brake lines because they're kind of all over the place. I'll probably address that when I put the cab, at least just the cab, maybe not inner fenders and everything, but just the cab back on, get the master cylinder back in place. But even if this one, I think this one will be fine. We can tweak with it. This one I may need to remake, but it's got a little union deal right here, so it wouldn't be difficult to do that if need be. But yeah, guys, man, I'm freaking pumped. It's in here. Looks good. Fits good. Let me show you the notch. If you didn't see my last video, I did decide to do a notch. Not sure if you can see that or not. Give me just a second. Alright, how's that? If you saw my last video, or if you didn't, I did decide to notch the frame rail just because of how close it was the first mock-up, and at some point wrestling it in, it made contact with the cross member, as evidenced by the little spot that's on the bottom of the oil pan. But now we've got a mile of room. Oh, there you go, look at that. So that's good. And give me just a second, I'll jack it up and crawl up underneath and show you everything else clearance wise on the underside. Alright guys, hope you can oh yeah, look at that. Hope you can see. Here's my brake line, as I showed you earlier in the video, running down low on the cross member, so we got all kinds of clearance there. Closest it comes is right here. I'll try to get where you can see that. And it's probably 3/8 of an inch or so gap there. So even with vibrations and stuff, I don't think that's going to be an issue. Pretty much a full finger, almost a full finger there. So yeah, good clearance there. I'll try to get you and show you. I don't know if you'll be able to tell. Let me try to get situated here. I don't know if you can tell, but there's plenty of clearance with the there's plenty of clearance with the Hooker Blackheart swap mounts and the Holley 302-1 oil pan as it kind of comes around the cross member to the sump. I don't know, it probably doesn't do it justice, but anyways, I purposefully installed the motor without the starter on, just because the starter's kind of a it's a service item, a wear item, and I wanted to see how much trouble it would be to get it in. And it took a little finagling, mainly because of the lower control arm mount here, kind of in the way of the long bolt. But put the long bolt through the starter, like have it in the starter already as you kind of fish the starter up there, and went in no problems. So starter's good. I mean, it looks kind of old because it is, but I'm gonna run it. Hopefully it works, and if not, I know I can replace it, so that's good. But anyways, it's in there. Oh, the clutch, I'm using the LS7 Clutch Kit from TIC Performance. So that kit included the flywheel, clutch, and pressure plate. I had them add the speed bleeder line. I just have it zip tied up right here. I also bought I guess a OEM style GM Performance slave and throwout bearing for like a 4th gen F body application, and you saw me, you know, checking all the clearances and whatnot on all that stuff, and so all that's good. So yeah, Tick Performance, that's where that stuff came from. And yeah, I mean, it's really kind of gone together like a dream. I couldn't have hoped for a much easier install. If you like what I'm doing over here, this is Gumby, my 93 S10, getting LS1 T56 Magnum. If you like it, you know, if you got friends that would like it, share it with them. Give me a like, subscribe, drop me a comment below. You got any questions? If I'm doing something wrong blatantly, let me know. You know, I've never done this. This is my first time. I'm not a professional, just a guy in my garage. But until next time, y'all have a good one.